Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be uploading a part 2 to the commentary that I posted, well, I don't know when I posted it, but my last commentary. So this is going to be a continuation of that, continuing the story of speech and debate. And as you can see, this commentary, we are playing Skywars, because the rule of this series that I'm playing a different game every single time just to keep things interesting. So today, I'm playing Skywars, and excuse my, I don't know, rustiness, because I haven't played Skywars in a second or two. So also Skywars got like a cool update where they added this cool kit where you can like teleport back in time. So it's kind of cool. Let's see if I can. Oh wow, that felt nice. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to be continuing my commentary on on speech and debate. Okay, so where did we leave off? We left off at the end of first semester of my freshman year last year. And what had happened is I had just, okay, so just to explain again, in speech and debate there are 2 difficulties for every event. And once you get 2, I think it's top 6 placements, or 2 final round placements in either lower difficulty, you get leveled up to the higher difficulty. So I had started at the, so I'd started at the lower difficulty, obviously, because I was a novice, I was a newcomer. It would not really be fair of me to start competing against all the professionals. But just before spring break, I had won my final round. I got in a first place and was now in the higher difficulty. Now, what this means is that I'm going to be competing against people who actually know what they're doing. They're not just like random idiots who just started competing like 2 seconds ago. Oh gosh, that was a good, dude, my combos are great today. Especially given how much I've warmed up. Can I? Wow, okay. That's awesome. So yeah, now I am in, oh gosh. Now I was in the harder difficulty. And so, when I started competing that year, in Impromptu, of course, the event where you get your topic and then you have 6 minutes to think of a speech and say it, I was competing in that, and now I was competing in the harder difficulty. And I did not have much luck or success in the harder difficulty, because I was not that incredible at Impromptu. I was just doing good in Novice because I was just better compared to, like, the people who just started, like recently, you know? Bro, what is this map? This is insane. So yeah, I started off the season with, not doing too great. I had, a lot of, I was doing all right. I wasn't doing terrible. I wasn't getting last place, but I was very consistently getting like 3rd place and 4th place. And I had just, like my season goal, I guess, for that season was to qualify for states. And you can't really do that by just getting 3rd place and stuff, right? So yeah, I wasn't doing incredibly. And so I decided, you know what, I want to try something new. I wasn't really enjoying Impromptu all that much, because Impromptu is a stressful event, you know? It's nice to have to not prepare anything, but at the same time, it's incredibly stressful, out of all the public speaking events. So I decided I want to try something new. And so I decided to try a dramatic interpretation. Now, what that is you take a published piece, usually like a story or something, and you will try to dramatically interpret it. Now, by dramatically, I mean that you just try to make the sad things more sad, and yeah, you just really bring out the sadness in it, right? That's usually what dramatic interpretation is. It's just sad things. So most dramatic interpretations are about like really sad things, like death and depression and suicide and all that thing and all that stuff, and they're usually like screaming by the 3-minute mark. But I didn't want to do that. See, the reason I was doing dramatic interpretation was because, well, A, not many people were doing it, so it was my highest chance to qualify for states, and B, I wasn't very funny, I guess. Well, okay. I wasn't very good at interpreting things in a funny way. I feel like that's, I don't know. I just wanted to do something that was easier and wouldn't require as much work. So I decided to do this. Oh gosh. No. So yeah, but I didn't want to do like the same style, right? I wanted to try something different because again, I didn't want to be really sad. I didn't really enjoy that. And so I asked my coach for a DI piece, and he gave me a piece that wasn't very standard DI, right? It was different. And I appreciated that. So I did that. And now I didn't do do you really think you would just like not get armor and just kill people? So yeah, I had a very different style of piece. Now, if the piece I did was performed like correctly, if I did it well enough, I'm sure that it could have done well. But I just wasn't really, I don't know, I don't think I had, I didn't do it right. I'm just gonna say that. I didn't really do it as good as I could have. I was more doing it to get to states than I was doing it to like actually have fun and do it well. So I was just more doing it because I had to than I wanted to. That attitude made me not do too great. So yeah, I just wasn't really doing it great, and so I didn't really do great enough to qualify for states. So yeah, the way you would qualify for states was, there's So there's one state tournament at the end of the year, and you can accumulate bids for that throughout the entire season through tournaments, right? So if you do well at different tournaments, you'll get like a state bid, and you can go to states if you have a state bid, right? And I'm just gonna say this now: the way to qualify for nationals is really weird because you would think that like after winning at states you go to nationals, but that's actually not how it is. The way that it is in speech and debate is that after states, it kind of ends there. If you want to go to nationals, there's a completely separate tournament called districts, and you have to do well at districts to get to nationals. Now, this is a little problematic because you could have somebody who did great the entire season, qualified like 5 times for a state, absolutely crushed everybody, right? And then like a single judge doesn't like them at nationals and screws them over, and then, well, they can't go to nationals, even if they are the most deserving person in the state. And so that's a little tragic, but you know, oh well. My goal right now is just to get to states, and so I look at some other events I can try. I try doing debate, and I actually do pretty good at that. I get 2 wins, 3 losses at my first tournament, which I'd say is good, especially since I'm competing in the harder difficulty, not against the novices. And so I consider that, but I also know that I'm not that good at debate. Like, I'm not good enough to be, you know, going to states. I'd have to get like 4 wins at least. You know, like I have to qualify for like top 5 at the tournament, and 2 wins, 3 losses is not enough to qualify for top 5. You're alive. Sorry, I kind of stopped talking there. Oh no! Oh! So yeah, I still want to get to states though. So I look at the pools, and it's the Wednesday night before the last qualifying tournament for states. And so I'm looking at the pools, and I'm like, what can I do that can qualify me for states? And I noticed that the duo interpretation pools have like 4 people, meaning if I enter in a duo, I'd be guaranteed to go to states. Now, duo interpretation is a 10-minute long interpretation, meaning that you take a published work and it's with a partner. And it's probably one of the most fun events in speech and debate because you can kind of do whatever you want with it. Judges will accept funny ones and they'll also accept dramatic ones. But let's be real here. The duo is most fun when you're doing it funnily. My gosh, I can't speak. For example, just 2 years ago, a team from our school went to states, or maybe nationals, no, it was states, for doing a duo on the Communist Manifesto. They took the Communist Manifesto and acted it out, the 2 of them, and they got to states. Like, what? And so I was like, yeah, let's do a duo. Also, let's not engage in PvP here. Go away. So, my coach asks, does anybody want to do a duo? And my coach is, by the way, a previous graduate of the school who did incredibly good in the interpretation events. And he asks, does anybody want to do a duo? And I'm like, sure. And like another person at the practice is like, sure. And so I was like, yeah, let's do a duo. And might I remind you, this is the Wednesday before the last qualifying tournament. So we have literally like 3 days to prepare an entire duo, 10-minute long, memorized, supposed to be. So we do it. Well, kind of. You see, we do a duo on a book called The Rainbow Fish by Marcus Pfister. If you haven't read The Rainbow Fish, it's an incredibly eloquent piece. It's truly a work of art. It's beautiful in every way. Marcus Pfister is an incredible author. It's a children's book. So yeah, we're doing a children's book to try to qualify for states. So we're doing a duo on The Rainbow Fish. And in reality, The Rainbow Fish is a very small book because it's a children's book, right? So it's got like 30 lines in it. And so our duo ends up being like 4 minutes long, and usually they're doing 10 minutes, right? And we're doing a children's book that's like literally 2/5 the time it's supposed to be, trying to qualify for states. And we didn't even memorize it. You see, forensics was still recovering from COVID, right? So all the tournaments were online. And so what we did was you had like so you'd put like your camera right here, and you'd stand like right here, right? But what you'd do is you'd have a wall like all the way back here, and the wall is what would have your script on it, and you just read from here. You'd stand over here and be like, hi, and you'd read from the script, right? And they couldn't tell. Well, I mean, they could tell, but you just needed to not be obvious about being like, you know, like don't look up, right? So we tried not to look up, and you know, we did it. We qualified for states, despite the odds, you know. Although in reality, we were guaranteed to qualify for states because there were like 4 people in the pool and they were qualifying for. So we were like guaranteed, but we still did. But we still did it. We qualified to states, and that accomplished my goal. I can say that I qualified to states in forensics as a freshman, and that would be it until we realized that the districts tournament was coming up soon. And the districts, as you may recall, is how you qualified for nationals. And I explained earlier that a little flaw in it was that people who are really good may never like actually qualify just because of a judge, right? But the converse also is true as well. We might have not done anything at all this year, but if we get like a single judge who finds us funny, or maybe more than a single, like 2 judges that find us funny, we can actually get to nationals, especially considering there are only 9 people in the pool and they qualify 2. So our chances aren't impossible, right? If we just refine the rainbow fish a little bit, maybe memorize it, we could go to nationals. And, well, we get 4th place. And, you know, honestly, I respect the judge's decision, right? It's a children's book. It's 2/5 of the time it's supposed to be. We memorized like a 5th of it. We didn't memorize all of it that we should have. So, yeah, we get 4th place, which is not enough to qualify for nationals. We're 2 entire placements away. Although, I mean, we got the condolence of knowing that we were 2nd alternate, meaning that if 2 people ahead of us decided they couldn't go to nationals, then, like, we'd get to go. But let's be real here. How many people are going to pass up an opportunity to go to nationals in Louisville, Kentucky for speech and debate, right? Especially for a fun event like Duo, right? It's not that stressful, and it's really just a fun time. And so, that was the end of my season. Districts marked the end of the season, and the season was over. So that was my forensics year. Until one morning, I wake up to an incredible email from our forensics instructor telling me that 2 people ahead of us at districts in line to go had dropped out, saying they couldn't go, meaning we were now qualified to go. And so we did. I was ecstatic. I was like, I can go to nationals as a freshman. That's incredible. And that's when I realized, on the exact same week that nationals was supposed to happen, my family had a huge trip planned where we went to North Carolina, Virginia, and Michigan. Michigan is where I used to live before moving to Washington, the state that I currently live in. Anyways, we had a huge trip planned there. The first trip that we had, so usually it's annually, but it's the first trip that we'd had in like a year or 2, I'm pretty sure, because of COVID and all. And it was the first time that I get to see like my cousins and all, and again, like 2 years because of COVID, right? And that just happened to be the exact same week of speech and debate, literally right in the middle. And so I was devastated, knowing that I had to pick either, you know, speech and debate, right, my bragging rights, my passion, right, that's the only real thing I've been doing, right, that's like, I don't do sports, I don't do any other extracurriculars, that's probably the biggest thing in my life, so I had to pick that or my family. But then I realized that technically, if I didn't qualify to go to the final rounds in at nationals in speech and debate, I'd only be there for 3 rounds, or 3 days. Oh, I didn't realize it was that sky left. That's awesome. So yeah, technically, if I didn't qualify to the final rounds, I'd only need to be there 3 days, right? Because we only competed 3 days. There were 6 rounds of our main event, which would be duo, spanning Monday to Tuesday, right? And then there would be 1 round of supplementals. Now, what supplementals are were if you didn't qualify in your main event, then you would have something to do on Wednesday, right? And you can even qualify for finals on those as well. Those were also professional. Well, not professional. Those were just like competitive as well, right? And they were different events, right? So in the main ones, you'd have like, you know, your argumentative essays and stuff. And in the other ones, you'd have like prose and poetry and stuff like that. It's cool. But yeah, so those are supplementals, right? And then assuming I don't qualify in duo or my supplemental, I'd only need to be there from Monday to Wednesday, because I do duo Monday, Tuesday, and then I do the supplemental on Wednesday. And so technically, what we could do is we could have me go to North Carolina with my family, have my dad drive me to Louisville, like 12 hours, right? We compete at speech and debate, and then we drive back to North Carolina, and then we drive to Virginia, and then we drive to Michigan, and then we fly home back to Seattle. And so that's what we did. So yeah, that would work, and I really wanted to do it, and so we did it. Yeah, I was really excited too, and I got to experience it. I got to Louisville Sunday, the same night that the team did, except I wasn't obviously flying with them. I was having my dad drive me. Okay, that was close. And now I kill you. So yeah, I got to go there Sunday night. You know, I got to be in a hotel with a sophomore who was my duo partner and another senior who was there. And yeah, or I got to be in a hotel room with them. Obviously, we were in the same hotel as the entire team. But yeah. I don't have projectiles. So yeah, I got to compete at nationals, which was honestly a blast. However, there were a few things that went a little wrong. Now, first off, I'm just going to quickly explain how my events did. So obviously, our main event was duo, and in that, we did awful. see, we knew we qualified for nationals, and so we spent 2 weeks every day practicing for it, right? Which is probably what we should have done. Is that guy hacking? I don't know, but it looks like it. Oh. Also, dude, I got this crazy clip the other day of... What did he call me? I don't... Okay, buddy. I got this crazy clip the other day where I shot somebody off and I shot them again while they were in the void. It was insane. Dude, I should play that on screen right now. That felt incredibly cool to do. It was the first time I've ever done something like that. Anyways, yeah, we did garbage and duo, mainly last places. And again, that's because we didn't really utilize our practice time. I mean, obviously, we increased the length by 2 minutes, which is good. But again, it's 30 lines, right? We couldn't, like... It's not good to have 6 minutes of acting and only like 4 minutes of talking. So we did like about 3 minutes of acting and 3 minutes of talking, which I think is fair. And so, I mean, that was basically as much as we optimized it. We could have done more, I definitely think, but again, we knew we weren't going to qualify. It's the rainbow fish. We don't have enough time, and our thing is not long enough. And again, it is the freaking rainbow fish, right? It's insane enough that we got to nationals with the rainbow fish. And then were the supplementals. Now, my supplemental was extemporaneous debate. You see, throughout the entire season, there's one more event that I've been doing other than impromptu DI and debate. I was doing an event called SPAR, Spontaneous Argumentation. Now, spontaneous argumentation is where you get your topic, so it's a debate, and you get your topic, like basically during the round. And then you have a minute to prepare. You don't get to use the internet, and then you debate. Now, the fun thing about SPAR is, so the reason I didn't really count it is because it's an unofficial event. You can't qualify for states or nationals with it, and most tournaments don't even have it. It was a very specific amount of tournaments that do. And SPAR is it's a debate where like anything goes, right? And the topics are usually based upon funny things, right? So, for example, once I got the topic, Italy doesn't exist, and once I would have to argue that Italy doesn't exist, and the other would have to argue that it does. Or I got the topic, who would win in a fight, Florida man or the lizard people? You know, so these topics are not necessarily like the most sophisticated, and so I didn't really count it. However, it was similar to extemporaneous debate. Now, extemporaneous debate is a debate where, it's a debate where you get your topic and you have 30 minutes to prepare a case. Now, in this one, you are allowed internet, and you have a lot more time to prepare your case. However, it's still the same concept, right? I'm not doing like Lincoln Douglas debate where I'm gonna be competing against people who practice their case for like ages, you know. I'm gonna be competing against people who practice their case for like 10 minutes after learning what their case was gonna be like a second ago. And in that, I actually did pretty good. I got 2 wins and 2 losses, which honestly I am proud of at nationals, because again, it is nationals and it's my second time ever doing a sophisticated debate, and I got 2 wins, 2 losses. I broke even, which I think is pretty good, so I'm happy with myself on that. So yeah, that was the actual experience of the speech and debate. Now I'm going to go into some of the, how do I describe this? Let's just say little quirks of it. First off, there had been like a record heat wave in Louisville that week, right? So we were competing in like really, really hot heat, and it was in a college campus, so we had to keep walking back and forth between our venues, right, to compete. And we were all wearing suits. It was also a black suit, meaning it attracted a lot of the sun. And, I mean, obviously, it was really hot and humid in there, right? And a lot of the things didn't even have AC, right? So we just walk in, and it'd just be like room temperature. And we're like, bro, I'm literally burning to death. I'm going to fry in this suit. I'm going to be an egg by morning. So that was one thing. Another thing was that we're going off of like 5 hours of sleep and stuff, which may be fine for some people, but I really can't do that. Especially when I'm like a little stressed like I was. And so I actually remember 2 nights I like woke up and like said something. One night I even like woke up and got completely dressed because I thought that we were going. And it was like, and then I like looked at the clock and it was like 4 a.m. and I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing, dude? Why am I here? What am I, like, what? He died? So yeah, I even like sleep talked and stuff. So my sleep schedule was not very good. And also the food I ate, I just decided not to eat breakfast that week, which also probably contributed to that. So I just wasn't feeling great like physically and stuff. But, I mean, oh well. If next time, you know, that is a lesson I've learned, right? You can't, like, the whole point of going to these things that I can do better the next time. Or, well, I don't know. It's just that now that I've gone to one of the things, I'll know. I should eat breakfast. I shouldn't get, like, little sleep. And, I don't know. I should just not wake up at 4 a.m. Also, one more complication, which is a very tragic one. My partner is a hilarious guy who's doing my duo with me. He is, so throughout most of the season, he was doing impromptu, because again, that's an easy event to get started with. But near the end of the season, he was doing the event called humorous interpretation, which is basically the funny interpretation where you do comedy. And he excelled at it. He is hilarious. For whatever reason, he tragically did not qualify to nationals, although he later got an email saying that the people in front of him had dropped out, so he could go to nationals. But he had, before the tournament, he had chosen that if he did qualify in both, he'd go and do it. So, But yeah, he's an incredibly funny guy. And he had this really good expository, which is a 5-minute informational speech lined up about cheese and its relation to like toppling governments and like conspiracies and religion and all that stuff. It was a hilarious speech. However, the night before the supplementals, we had gone to this place that served this thing called tachos. Now, the tachos are like tater tots plus tacos, it described them. And it it was certainly something. And my duo partner decides to order like a mountain of them with like ketchup and cheese and like all these other things on it. And so the next day comes around, and I think you can see where this is going. Right before he's supposed to go to compete, he says that he feels nauseous, and tragically, he is unable to compete because of said nausea. So unfortunately, we never got to see how his cheese expository will do. But on the bright side, he can now compete with the cheese expository this year. Because if you don't know, in speech and debate, if you compete in something, you have to you can't use it next year, right? So I mean, that's pretty good. It's a good rule, I think, to prevent people just like finding something that works and then just using it for the entire career. So yeah, that was basically the tournament. I had a ton of fun. It was my first ever in-person tournament as well, because, like I said, COVID was still kind of lingering on, and so the forensic season was very remote, and so I got to go to my first in-person tournament in a completely different state, which I thought was pretty cool, at nationals as well. So I thought that was pretty fun and pretty cool. Yeah, and after that, I continued on my little trip. So yeah, it was just me and my dad going to Louisville, and then we drove back to North Carolina. And yeah, that was basically that. We had a ton of fun on the trip, and I had a ton of fun on the forensics thing. So anyways, that is basically going to be it for this video. I've concluded my speech and debate 2-part kind of commentaries thing. And yeah, you can look forward to more commentaries in this series. So that was basically this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can look forward to more commentaries, obviously with different games, because that is the point of this series. You can also look forward to more different videos. And yeah, that is going to be it for now. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you later. Farewell.